Hi, I'm Liana, and I'm a level 1 chef.
Hi folks, Lorenzo here, and I'm a level 2 chef.
Hi, my name is Kelvin. I'm from the Institute of Culinary Education, and I've been a chef for 12 years.
I'm embarrassed to say that I don't cook often. I'm all about fast and really getting in and out of the kitchen, so this is good for me.
I eat salmon all the time. My recipe is a little different. It's a little fancy smancy. My presentation style is fried salmon skin.
I created this recipe after eating salmon for 2 weeks straight when I wanted to create a new dish. I don't like eating fish, and this one I enjoy eating very much.
All right, we're getting real Rachel Ray in this joint, and we're gonna start by prepping our veggies, okay? So we have, wait, am I allowed to reference Rachel Ray?
Today I'm using purple skin potatoes.
These are fingerling potatoes. You can find them at your local grocery store in the fingerling section.
Cut it, I'm gonna drop it into some water. Now that we have our potatoes ready, it's time to get them cooking. See you in 20 minutes.
And now I have a beautiful, odd assortment of fingerlings.
Let's start by prepping my baby bok choy. It's a little large. Typically baby bok choy is like this. My carrots are really tiny, so I'm gonna help it out. I don't wanna engulf it with my bok choy.
So we just drained the potatoes. In my mashed potatoes, I like to add a little bit of cream, a little bit of butter, and a lot of love. I like using a food mill. It's gonna really give the potatoes a nice little fine texture. And add the potatoes right into my pot, stir it together. This is the consistency that we're looking for. Nice, beautiful, creamy.
As a matter of fact, honestly, in reality, I just rip the leaves of the bok choy.
I got cherry heirloom tomatoes. The contrast and flavor is gonna be really nice for our final presentation.
We're just gonna cut 2 at a time. One time I saw on Pinterest that you can take a handful of these and slice them like that. I sliced my hand open, so we don't do that anymore.
I'm gonna score it right on top, just making a little cross hatch. So I'm gonna throw it in the boiling water for about 10 seconds. We don't wanna overcook the cherry tomatoes since we're gonna cook it one more time in the saute pan.
Open them up so that the spices can kind of just soak in. Cut my finger already.
And I can see the skin starting to come off. Now we're gonna fish them out into our ice bath. That's gonna stop the cooking process because I'm gonna cook the tomatoes one more time. You don't wanna leave the tomatoes in there too long. You don't want them to absorb any more water than they already have.
Pinterest has you out here thinking that you have a hack for everything, but some things just need to be taken slow. But if there's any level 2, 3, 4s out there that have a different hack, let me know because this is boring.
You can see skin is starting to come off, which is exactly what we want. I'm gonna take my paring knife, right where we scored it. The skin is gonna come right off.
The asparagus, snap away.
So right now I have beautiful baby zucchini. I like using baby zucchini because it doesn't take a long time to cook.
We are now going to zest. This involves 1 lemon. This is going to add some lemony, zesty flavor to our asparagus.
Garlic.
I'm gonna crush it.
I'm not gonna keep it whole because I want it to incorporate into my baby bok choy and my julienne carrots. All right, let's get started here. We can literally throw everything together. It can all go at the same time.
Time to cook some vegetables. I like using vegetable oil over extra virgin olive oil. It has a higher smoking point with a little bit of salt, kosher salt.
A little bit of pepper. So what we're going to do, slice as thinly as I can.
Let's just saute this through. A lot of people make the mistake of, again, adding liquid to this. The liquid from the bok choy will dissipate in release.
So now I'm going to take all of these lemons that I so beautifully sliced and I'm going to put them in this bowl because again, I think that the lemon is going to soak into the asparagus. Not sure if it happens, but it looks nicely contained in this bowl.
The zucchini's dancing. Just want to make sure I build a little bit of color first. I'm going to look for a little bit of golden brown. I don't want too much caramelization. You don't want the baby zucchini to be mushy. You want it to still have a little bit of a bite.
So we're going to take all of these chopped vegetables and we're going to scatter them. So I have a little pepper, onion powder, garlic powder, dried rosemary. I tend to over-season things. That's probably why the food comes out bad, so you know.
I'm gonna add sesame seed oil, soy sauce, rice wine vinegar.
In all of the things that I read online that you're actually supposed to get more olive oil in your diet, so I tend to overdo it.
I also have oyster sauce. Oyster sauce is the key, but I am not adding the oyster sauce yet. If I added the oyster sauce, I'm gonna have a very sticky situation. I won't be able to saute this.
And now it's time to have the cherry tomatoes join the party. And now my vegetables are ready.
So now I'm going to take the tomatoes and potatoes to the oven where they will roast for 10 minutes.
All right, now it's time to add the one last ingredient, and that is my oyster sauce. That's about 1.5 tablespoons, and that is my vegetables.
Okay, so now we're making the fun little additions to the recipe, which are a marinade and a panko crunchy topping. So we're gonna start with the marinade because it looks the fanciest. We have about 1/2 cup of soy sauce, and we're going to add 1/2 cup of honey into it. I will stop it with my finger. Very important step. Tastes good.
All right, turning on my little stove here. Whoops, I keep turning the timer on. Sorry, folks.
Time to make the pineapple butter sauce. I'm using pineapple juice. I chose pineapple because it leaves you wanting more. That's when you know you got a home run in this dish.
A couple tablespoons of veggie oil. Nice, and my little homage to you guys. Hello, Emily, shout out to you. Ketchup.
Now the pineapple juice has reduced exactly to where we want it. We're gonna add a tablespoon of butter. We'll let the butter swirl in. Just like that, we have a pineapple butter sauce.
I'm going to now add apple cider vinegar, mustard, soy sauce, a little bit of salt, always a little bit of salt.
It's time for our citrus crust. We're gonna take half a stick of butter. We're gonna beat the butter a little bit just so it knows who's boss. We're gonna take 1 lemon.
This recipe is lemon intense.
I'm gonna zest the entire lemon.
So we're gonna cut it in half. Get out all of the lemon juice. There's a lot of careful technique here, a lot of turning, twisting. I don't expect you all to catch on this just the first try, so try to rewatch the video a few times to get the technique down. We're going to pour it in here and gently whisk.
So it's basically a light sweet and sour sauce. It's getting thick on its own. I actually don't need to make a slurry of cornstarch.
Did you add the other water?
I didn't.
Once we start adding any liquid to the butter, it starts to firm up a bit.
Wah, wah, wah. Forgot the water and cornstarch to thicken it. That's why it looked funny. There you go, folks. There is my sweet and sour sauce for my salmon.
Now we're adding some panko breadcrumbs.
It can make your salmon have a crunchy topping. So we're adding this melted butter.
As I'm incorporating the butter to the panko, I know I have enough when we're ready to be able to spread it thin. Have a little bit of wax paper here, add a little bit of our butter, another wax paper on top, put a little bit of pressure, exactly what we're looking for, a nice beautiful citrus crust. Gonna pop this in the freezer for 10 minutes. We'll be right back.
And this will make a beautiful crunchy topping for our salmon.
And this is the reason why we're here.
The star of the show here.
It is the salmon time.
We have a nice fillet of Ora salmon. I'm gonna remove the skin. We're not gonna saw. We're just gonna let the knife do its thing. And just like that, we have a beautiful skin removed. We're gonna do about 8 ounces for the salmon.
We're prepping the salmon with just some simple seasoning. We've got garlic,
I'm probably gonna put a little bit too much on here.
onion powder, ginger powder,
Salt. I'm gonna flip it, making sure that we're seasoning on both sides.
Hello, beautiful silvery skin. I like frying up the skin. Now, I am going to flour the skin side.
We're ready to cook some salmon. And I'm using neutral oil because we're gonna add flavor.
You can never have too much olive oil. So I'm gonna kind of drizzle it on.
We're only cooking the salmon for about 2.5 minutes on each side because we're still cooking it once we put the crust on top. Listen for that sizzle.
I want that zzz right off the bat. I want it to sear.
With salmon, it's always important to cook presentation side first. That's where you're gonna have the most heat content.
I can always go longer on this side and go lighter when I flip it. So in the end, it'll somewhere be in between anyway. Okay, it's good.
I'm going to reintroduce my beautifully roasted veggies, scooped, placed, magic. This asparagus is now going to be placed across all of the vegetables. Now, you might be wondering, where did those beautifully thinly sliced lemons go? Here they are. We're gonna take our marinade, drizzle it on, top it off with the panko breadcrumbs, and we're going to roast it up, and it's going to be delicious.
Ready to flip my salmon, beautiful golden brown.
Ay, caramba. Did I just say that out loud? That was my inner monologue, you guys.
Time to add the aromatics. We're gonna add our garlic, rosemary, and our thyme.
See, opaque. It's a different color. It's almost like that pumpkinish, custardy color. If the fish doesn't smell fishy, it's pretty dang good fish. All right, I'm done. 1 ringy-dingy, 2 ringy-dingy.
There you have 2 perfect pieces of salmon. Now it's time to add our last flavor profile, which is gonna be the first bite, and that's that citrus crust. So I got the citrus crust out of the freezer. We're gonna cut a piece that's exactly equivalent to our salmon. We wanna make sure that we cover the salmon completely because it's pretending to be our skin. And once it goes into the broiler, it's gonna wrap completely around the salmon, and it's gonna create this beautiful texture.
All right, guys, this just came out of the oven. This looks like quite a masterpiece. I am impressed.
I'm very excited. So let's start with my sauce. Pretty, pretty, pretty. And then my baby bok choy with julienne carrots.
Look at that, guys. There's colors, there's vibrancy. It looks like there's flavor.
Hello, salmon. You look great. Finish it off with some citrus. Finished it. That looks great, guys. Okay. I'm like clapping for myself. All right, here we go. Stop it.
I like using cilantro because it just reminds me of tropical flavors, and I think of pineapple as a tropical flavor. Now we mix the cilantro with our beautiful pineapple butter sauce.
And I think we've got ourselves a beautiful plate of salmon. That's it.
This is my salmon.
And here we have our citrus crusted salmon.
I'm afraid to try this because it looks really good and I don't want to get my hopes up.
Oh my God. You guys.
That was delicious. I'm proud.
Oh my God. It's good. It is not fishy. It's nice. It's just a nice combo. These guys are working together. Bum, bum, bum. One palate says hello, the other palate says thank you.
You get this burst of lemon, the texture from the panko breadcrumbs. If you don't like fish, you'll be converted with this dish. That kind of rhymed.
Salmon is a meaty and popular fish that's very versatile in cooking. Let's see how each of our chefs made their salmon dishes. Leanna used a combination of fingerling potatoes, cherry tomatoes, and asparagus. Each ingredient requires different cooking times for proper doneness. Oil conducts heat well and gets very hot while also preventing water loss when baking. Oil also adds a richness to the flavor of the potatoes and the cherry tomatoes.
I'd rather over-season something and it tastes good than to have wasted time, wasted effort to have a unseasoned meal.
She cut her potatoes in half to cut the required cooking time down. The cherry tomatoes burst when the water inside them turns to steam, which creates some liquid in the baking pan. Leanna added her asparagus with the salmon because it cooks more quickly than the potatoes and the cherry tomatoes. When you cook green vegetables for a longer time, the chlorophyll which gives asparagus its bright green color eventually turns to a compound called pheophorbyde, which is more of an olive color and not very visually appealing. Lorenzo served his salmon with baby bok choy and carrots, which ties in nicely with his Asian-inspired theme. He used a flash fry method in an aluminum wok.
Cleanest wok I've ever seen in my life.
Aluminum conducts heat very well, so this type of pan heats very quickly, mainly through conduction and convection as the heat travels from the heat source around the sides of the wok. He used spicy red pepper flakes with fresh garlic, soy sauce, and oyster sauce, which is derived by cooking oysters, which are high in glycogen that breaks down into glucose when cooked. Kelvin served his salmon with mashed purple potatoes. This type of potato has anthocyanin pigments in the skin, which make them purple. This pigment is water soluble and lightens in color as they're boiled. He also sauteed baby zucchini with heirloom cherry tomatoes.
As a chef, the hardest thing to do is make a dish exciting from beginning to end. You're adding different flavor profiles. It's going to leave your palate excited.
Heirloom tomatoes generally come from older cultivars and have various shapes, colors, and sizes. He scored the top and the bottom and boiled the tomatoes quickly. The steam generated from water inside the tomato helps to easily remove the fibrous skin, making tender tomatoes. Leanna baked her salmon at a high heat for 15 to 20 minutes on a baking sheet with her vegetables. Salmon is a fatty fish, so it can withstand higher temperatures without becoming dried out. Lorenzo used a non-stick saute pan to pan fry his salmon. Lorenzo focused on keeping the skin very crunchy and cooked his salmon to a medium doneness so that the inside of his fillet was brighter in color and very tender due to the water that remained.
I'm just gonna let it go opaque a very short period of time because I don't like to overcook it and dry it out.
Kelvin first seared his salmon without skin. While it was searing, he basted his salmon, adding the lipid-soluble flavorings from the fresh rosemary, thyme, and garlic. He finished by cooking in the oven briefly, then added the lemon butter crust and broiled his salmon. Broiling is a radiant heat method where heat energy is transmitted by waves that vibrate at high frequency and travel rapidly through space. Leanna's simple one-pan salmon dish relied on the colors of the potatoes, cherry tomatoes, and asparagus to complement the pinkish salmon. The panko added textural appeal and rounded out her delicious salmon.
You guys thought I was level 1?
Lorenzo served his salmon skin side up. He also added soy sauce, spicy Dijon mustard, and hot sesame oil, which activate chemosensory receptors on our tongues to impart that hot, spicy feeling we get from capsaicin or other spicy ingredients.
I like hot sesame oil. I like things a little spicy, a little hot.
Kelvin's pineapple butter sauce was a wonderful, sweet, and fruity addition to his lemon-flavored salmon. Pineapple also contains bromelain, which is a proteolytic enzyme, so it helps to tenderize the fish as well.
If it makes you dance, that's when you know it's great.
Our three chefs each put their own spin on their salmon recipe. Next time you're in the mood for a delicious and healthy fish, we hope you'll enjoy these tips from our three chefs.